name is Michael William Doyle. I'm an associate professor of history here at Ball State University and director of our department's public history program. I've been a public historian for more than 3 decades, and for 30 of those years I've been a practicing oral historian. I've wanted to find a way to increase the course offerings in our public history program, which at the moment consists of a single course, Introduction to Public History, which is offered every spring, and then a full semester, full-time internship that the students do, which involves them practicing history in a public setting for the benefit of the general public. My students do these internships 30 to 40 hours a week over a 15-week semester everywhere in the country, from Alaska to Florida and from California to Maine. I have a student for the very first time who's going to do an international internship beginning with the spring semester of 2012 at a research center in Northern Ireland as an archival research assistant. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of the opportunities that the history department makes available to those students who want to do something with their history major besides teach history in a school setting. I got the idea for bringing my professional practice as an oral historian together with an immersive learning course, which I call the Oral History Workshop, in 2008, when I received funding with a colleague here on the faculty at that time by the name of Dr. Dave Olbrich, who had earned his master's degree in history from our department a number of years ago, got his doctorate at Temple, and came back here as a adjunct faculty member. He was a specialist in U.S. military history, and he alerted me to the fact that the 1st Division Museum at Cantigny in Wheaton, Illinois, was very interested in having oral history interviews added to their research collection with veterans of the 1st Infantry Division. Together we put together the first of our grant proposals for a $50,000 project that resulted in us interviewing 50 veterans of the 1st Division who had served in the Army following the end of World War II, the German occupation, through Desert Storm. The 1st Division Museum enjoyed that project so much that they funded a second go-around, which we did the following year in the summer of 2009. Again, Dave Olbrich and I, although we have both done oral histories as scholars, our idea was to train Ball State students to do the interviews. And so we followed that same model the second year in 2009 and interviewed more than 20 students. At this point, the project was based in a partnership with Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. Dave had a contract faculty position there at the time, and that allowed us to extend the range of the interviews we were doing with people to include Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. The first project, we had interviewed people here in Indiana, Kentucky, and the western part of Ohio. Believe it or not, the Cantigny Foundation was interested in funding a third go-around when we proposed a project this past year that would involve not interviewing 1st Infantry Division veterans, but this time active duty soldiers. There are approximately 1,000 soldiers that are part of the Army's 4th Maneuver Enhancement Brigade, who are attached to the 1st Division and stationed at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. My colleague Dave Olbrich today is an Army historian. He works for the Engineer School, which is based at Fort Leonard Wood, and he was the one that alerted me to this opportunity. I met with the brigade commander, Colonel Frank Rangel, last June after we received funding to do 40 more interviews beginning this fall. And he said that he would happily cooperate and make it possible for 20 soldiers to be selected that he would see were bused from Fort Leonard Wood to Ball State. And we're going to do interviews with another 20 in fall of 2012 when we do the second half of this project. The soldiers showed up on Monday of this week, November 7th. We welcomed them with a reception over in the Music Lounge of the Student Center, and followed that with a 90-minute professional development seminar that was led by Dr. John Glover, who's the command historian of Fort Leonard Wood. He came out from the fort to present that seminar on the role of the non-commissioned officer in today's Army and their lineage and heritage in the 1st Division. Following the seminar, on Monday evening, we welcomed the soldiers to a banquet that was addressed by our college's Dean Mike Maggiato. Yesterday, November 8th, was devoted entirely to conducting the interviews. The 10 student members of our oral history workshop team labored from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. Each student interviewed 2 soldiers, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. The interviews lasted anywhere from 30 or 40 minutes at the shortest to 2 hours at the longest. And they were recorded by professional videographers who are employed by the university's Teleplex. The interviews will be made available permanently from the University Library's digital media repository, and the students will spend the last month of the semester preparing verbatim transcripts of the interviews that they did. These transcripts will also be accessible and downloadable from the digital media repository where the videos are accessed. One interesting feature that John Straw, the Assistant Dean for Digital Initiatives and the university's archivist, is that if somebody were to land on a highlighted word or phrase by searching for it on a search engine, and they found themselves inside the transcript on the project website, by clicking on that highlighted word or phrase, it launches Windows Media Player, and it will stream the video and audio of the interview from approximately the sentence before that word or phrase actually appears in the video. And this has revolutionized access to oral history collections that before the advent of the World Wide Web, it was necessary to go into an archive during the days that it was open and sit in a booth with headphones and listen to the tape recording of it, typically audio tape. Today, with the advent of digital history and the enormous resources that Ball State University makes available to its faculty and students and staff, these interviews will be available in perpetuity for all posterity to everyone in the world who has access to the internet.